I don't know if you guys remember that hole we fought for 5 days to get into the ground, but we're gonna go finish the job, or at least part of the job, today. I can't believe it.
The part of the job I'm referring to here is dropping the well pump down into the bottom of the well so we can finally get water out of there. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I also told you we have a big announcement to make for the channel, and I couldn't be happier. So let's get to it.
You may remember a while back I told you there was a big announcement that we had to make, and guess what? It's time to talk about it. So way back in the beginning of the well drilling, Augie and I had already decided to put in a Grundfos SQFlex groundwater pump.
Back then, the strategy was beautifully simple. Once we knew there was water in the well, we'd drop an SQFlex pump into it, hang a little temporary solar on the pole to power it, and push water into a small pressure tank at the wellhead. All solar, all the time. That was the plan anyway. Nothing fancy in the beginning, just enough water for us to start planting the vineyards and getting all the irrigation lines in, and occasionally camp between now and whenever. You know, a way to boil pasta without strategic planning, or wash your hands, or take a real shower, and generally live like wild royalty up there on that ridge. I mean, it takes 3 to 4 years for grapevines to start bearing fruit, so getting going with the agricultural aspects of the Casaluna dream seems prudent, like now.
Cut to well drilling. We do the whole thing, as you may remember. We went through that whole process, and after that process, Augie and his guys all went to a conference, and they happened to stop by the Grundfos booth. Augie noticed that they were introducing a brand new wind turbine system for powering the Flex, and he came back and he called me and he said, "Brian, I think it would be a really cool idea to have one of these wind turbines up there. You have a lot of wind. It's very, very windy."
He said Grundfos had partnered with a wind turbine company called Kestrel, and according to every one of his guys who walked that same show floor, the Grundfos turbine setup was suspiciously perfect for what we're trying to do up here.
And it would be probably more efficient. Maybe we do a hybrid solar wind solution or something like that. They're the best, they're the most reliable. Proof of that actually is
we installed the first Grundfos solar pump, first in California, right here in South San Jose at the Calpine Energy Plant. But what really sold me on the Grundfos system at that time is that that thing's still in operation 20-something years later.
And I thought that was a great idea. So of course he recommends one of those for Casaluna, and I am completely on board.
So I took Augie's advice. I wrote an email to Dennis at our Grundfos dealer, Preferred Pump, explaining what we were looking for. I figured it would disappear into polite corporate silence, but apparently it went all the way up to corporate, and a note landed back in my mailbox from Tom, the Grundfos Global Director of Residential Water Solutions, saying they're interested. We jumped on a Zoom call and walked through the site. The elevation, the prevailing wind that never really leaves the ridge, the well volume numbers that make or break a system like this. And by the end of the call, the conversation had pivoted from the original solar for now idea to something cleaner and better. Wind only, no solar at all for the water well systems. The thing is, these units are designed to generate full power at even the lowest wind speeds, and they keep working through a huge range without having to mind them, like at all. And that is exactly what I wanted. From there, the outline from Tom and team was pretty straightforward. Grundfos would send us the SQFlex well pump we were already planning on, a pump controller, the turbine head and brain, and a 30-foot tilt-up monopole tower. I'd take on the trenching, the concrete, the install work, the wiring, and, because apparently I like pain, the filming. And sure enough, a couple of weeks later, the Grundfos crates and boxes started landing at Guardino well drilling. And suddenly this wasn't a conversation anymore. It was concrete and steel and backhoes and deadlines. So I headed over to Augie's place to see exactly what we were dealing with.
Going to go unbox all the equipment that Grundfos has provided us.
Run away, little squirrels! Well, my friends, we are here at the Guardino drilling shop location. I cannot believe this is a thing. Walking in and seeing this stack, I had to remind myself these aren't props. This is the energy source for the pump that's supposed to feed all those grapes. I assume this is like some of the major sensitive parts. That is the submersible pump. This is it! I can't believe it! It's crazy! I've never been this close to hardware this cool, and I wanted to see that 30-foot tower and the blades in the flesh. So we set the electronics aside and went for the guts. I've waited months, so yeah, I was itchy. The lid came off and there's the tail fin. Kestrel on one side, Grundfos on the other. But under that, something that took my breath away. 3 gorgeous white blades nested like surgical tools. Clean, purposeful, and precise. I was floored. I looked around to see if I could spot that burly steel tower, but I didn't see it. But, I mean, it's 30 feet long. It can't hide easily, right? Still, something felt a little off. Should we just check and see if we've got everything? All right, let's do it. Do we have a pick list or something here? This is the mount for the base, I presume. We got a bunch of hardware over here too. We kept digging. And in here, oh, this isn't what I expected it to be. Oh, interesting. I mean, this is like the gantry for the mount, I guess. There's the thing where we attach the blades here. This is the turbine itself, right? This is the generator. That attaches to that, the blades attach to that. And then nose cone. That one's a nose cone? They're both nose cone? They go together? Yeah. So how do we build the tower, man? Is it there? Surely not. We pressed on. And as I did, I thought to myself, it's certainly possible that somebody might have received the tower but put it somewhere else, but there was no one else in the shop to ask that day. Nevertheless, as incredibly cool as all this is, we're still struggling with a very real issue anyway, no matter what's in the warehouse, and that is Santa Clara County building permits. But not to be deterred by bureaucrats and arcane applications and red tape, I realized there was another way we could move the project forward. Thanks to Grundfos, we can now set the pump down into the well and get the water system built and online above ground, even if we have to wait for, well, the turbine installation to power it. But once the turbine goes in, the first vines will be going in too, and Casaluna will begin its transformation into the first stage of its visual dream, and we can finally stay the weekend without having to bring our own water. Up there, in the fog somewhere, is Casaluna, and we're gonna drive up there this morning to meet up with Augie and the Guardino crew one more time to get that well pump into the ground.
And we're gonna see what we can do about getting that going.
But all that traces back to a single question. How do you actually get that water to the surface and make it usable? When I started this process, I thought it was super simple, but drilling the well is just the beginning. Without proper systems to get that water up to the surface and a way to store it and move it around above ground, just drilling and hitting water is a totally pointless exercise. Heck, I barely knew anything about any of this, and keeping up with pros like Guardino and Grundfos required me to do a lot of research, a lot of learning, and a lot of asking what probably sounded like dumb questions. So hopefully I can pass along some of what I've learned in a clear and concise way. The setup starts with a Grundfos SQFlex submersible pump, designed to take power from just about any kind of source. Wind turbine, battery, house power, grid power, solar, you name it. It adapts seamlessly to the available power so it can keep pumping safely and reliably for long periods. The power source for the pump in our case is a Grundfos E300i wind turbine, which converts wind into electricity. That power runs to a charge controller, basically a remote brain that smooths out the varying current from gusts and dips in the wind and feeds the pump at the bottom of the well with consistent power. The pump then pushes water up through the bore of the well, past a check valve, basically a one-way gate that keeps water from draining back down the pipe and stirring up the well. From there, it passes through a second check valve in case the first one fails, and then through a pressure gauge that shows how much pressure is in the system. Right beside that is the pressure switch, which senses when water pressure drops. Say, when I open a tap or when system pressure reaches its limit. It basically tells the pump when to start or stop. A pressure relief valve sits nearby and bleeds off excess pressure, and therefore water, if something malfunctions or overloads the system. From there, the water line splits, one branch going to a 4-gallon pressure tank, the other feeding a hose bib for direct use, a meter to track total water usage, and a drain bib to release all the pressure and drain the system if we ever need to service it. There are a lot of safeguards and backups in these systems to prevent damage, but one of the simplest and coolest is on the SQFlex itself. A small sensor on the power wire has to stay submerged for the pump to run, meaning the water itself keeps the electricity flowing. If the water level in the well falls below that sensor, the circuit opens and the pump shuts off automatically before it can burn itself out in the absence of the water that cools it. When the water rises again, the circuit closes and the pump starts right back up. It's so simple, so cool. So what about the turbine? Well, in as little as 5 miles per hour of wind, the pump runs and starts filling that 4-gallon pressure tank, which has a sealed air bladder inside. As water enters, the air in that bladder compresses, creating pressure in the line, and that's the pressure that pushes water through any downline plumbing. If I, for example, open the hose bib, the system pressure starts to drop, and the pressure switch tells the pump to top the tank back up. Then, after I close the valve again and the pressure climbs, the switch senses the increase and shuts the pump off until it's needed again. For an off-grid camping setup, that 4-gallon tank is plenty. It gives pressurized water for washing, cooking, or rinsing gear without running the pump non-stop. The system runs silently, uses no fuel, and powers itself entirely off the wind. That's about it. With the system designed and ready to go, it was finally time to turn the plan into reality, starting with getting that pump in the ground. And so, I found myself back on site with the best well drilling crew on planet Earth. It's always a spectacle to watch them come in, and this time was no exception. There's something about watching these guys work. The rhythm, the precision. So I just let the camera roll and watch the system foundation come to life. So they've just been on the back of the truck assembling a crazy contraption of pipes and valves and other things. So we're gonna go check it out. Here comes the water out the hose over there. It's like some crazy kind of magic, and I still can't believe it. Nice. Well, it's 12:30. Lunchtime, and we're done with this part of the install. I now have a pressure tank. The bladder in this thing holds about 4 gallons. It's currently under pressure. If I need more than that, I have to plug it in over here to a generator to run the pump. But once the turbine goes in, which 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 30 feet away from the well. This is approximately where the turbine will go. And once that's in, the system becomes completely automated. My next order of business is probably gonna have to happen today. And that is cows can smell water a mile away. And as you can see, there have been a lot of cows here, maybe overnight, and they can all kind of smell the water. So what I need to do is to protect this system from them rubbing on it, bumping things, destroying things accidentally with their great weight. And I'm gonna go get me some fencing and I'm gonna put it up here around this thing. So we'll see how that goes. I probably gotta do that today.
The next day.
Today the plan is to get done the project that was supposed to be done yesterday. These things I went to buy at Tractor Supply down in Gilroy, and they wouldn't fit in the FJ. So I had to have them delivered today and cross my fingers that the cows didn't come over here overnight and wreck anything. You never know up here. Looks like everything's fine. The plan is this. We're gonna stand these up and we're gonna zip tie them together, at least temporarily. And then I'm gonna go get my T-post pounder, manufacturer of perpetual hard work, and grab one of these T-posts here and put one on each corner once it's stood up, and then try not to hit myself or hurt myself. So that's the project for today. We set the gates around the wellhead and stood them up for a test fit, which sounds easy until you're on lumpy ground and the fence lines don't agree. But Fernanda and I shuffled the panels around to even them up, and since these are gates, not blank panels, we pulled the hinge hardware so nothing got in the way. Then we popped on a couple of zip ties so we could step back without it falling over, and we adjusted it until it was close enough for strength and decent aesthetics. With a mock-up holding, we then marked where the T-post would have to go in as corner anchors to tie everything down tight. So now the next thing is getting these T-posts in place. This is 18.5 pounds. It's heavy. My first time. We'll hold for now. Okay. Most perfect. Some of them were so bad we had to resort to professional techniques like this one. Kind of works. It's just so crooked. Maybe we could just
using the same
do that.
Oh,
there we go.
Good. Perfect.
Straight. Utah boy with no farm experience at all. How about that? Yeah, that's pretty messed up. Problem solved. This is a torture device. Others, we had to pull and start again.
It's going. Yes. Yes. Yay.
Wow. But perseverance got us over the finish line, and it was time for an important break. Okay, we have a thing. Come with me and get in that door. And in my bag, there's a pink thing.
Yes.
Yes, I'm so excited to give this to you. Let's go. Okay, now go to the cooler, get some ice. And you, my dear, are going to go get yourself a drink of water. The most important thing for this 4 gallons for me is you getting a drink of this water. Gently open it up and fill it up. Fill it up. There you go. There you go.
Wow.
And that is Casaluna water. See what it tastes like.
Amazing.
Is it good?
I'm so happy.
I haven't tasted it since the last episode of the drilling. Oh yeah. Very nice. Cheers.
Cheers.
Job done, and it felt great to move the project forward. The memory of cows demolishing my chairs on the property had kept me awake most of the previous night, so it was a huge relief getting that fencing up around the wellhead with Fernanda. But I will confess, driving back down the mountain, something kept nagging at me about the Grundfos gear unboxing back at the Guardino shop. The tower. How do we build this thing then? I have to admit, I got a little distracted from unboxing the turbine nacelles, the nose cone, the pump controller interface, the heavy support post for the controller, and that sleek, beautiful SQFlex pump. But that's only because the tower seemed to be missing, and it's the biggest piece of this thing. 30 feet long, heavy steel. It'd be obvious in any room, but I felt certain it hadn't made it. I had that dreaded moment that makes your heart sink. The thing that isn't there. Not on the sheet, not in the shop, which means the wind side of this plan cannot run yet. Damn it. Knowing I needed to email Tom, I steeled myself for a wait. I mean, it's totally reasonable that it might take a bit to dig into the issue and figure out what happened, but am I even asking the right questions? I obviously have no idea what I'm doing with turbines and their towers, so I was left wondering dumb things like, was this a buy the tube steel and anchors at Home Depot and BYOT situation? Or is there a whole assembly that was supposed to come with this turbine that's just missing? So with a healthy trepidation about looking publicly foolish in front of the good folks at Grundfos, I winced and fired off the question for a sanity check. Or maybe an idiot reveal on myself, I couldn't decide which.